Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. After all the buildup and suspense in this week's Torah portion over the reunion of Yaakov and Eisav, remember, they haven't seen each other for many times. They left on very bad terms. After all the buildup, when it finally happens and the two brothers meet and it turns out peaceful and brotherly, the Torah says, Vayaratz Eisav likraso vayechab kehu. Eisav ran towards Yaakov and hugged him. Vayipal al tzavarav vayishakehu. And he kissed him. Vayivku, and they cried over their long absence together. So it's a very beautiful scene of brotherly love after so many years. It could have gone the other way, but it works out okay. They're brothers again, they're together. Well, with that conclusion to that part of the suspense, we might expect that they would reestablish a brotherly relationship, that they would live together, that they would work together. And in fact, the offer is made. The Torah says, Eisav says to Yaakov, after they have reunited, Vayomer, Eisav says to Yaakov, Nis'a v'nelcha ve'elcha l'negdecha. Let's go together. Let's join forces. Let's be together. We're brothers, your family, my family, what you have, what I have. Let's be together. We'll live together. We'll work together. We'll be together. Vayomer Elav, Yaakov says to Eisav, Adoni Yodea, my master, he refers to Eisav in a respectful manner. You know, Ki hayaladim rakim, I have many children, and the children are weak, the young children. And also I have many cattle and herds. Vatzon v'abakar olos olai udefakum yom echad v'mesu kol hatzon. If I were to go as fast as you go fast. You go fast. You have soldiers. You're moving like a military troop. You go fast. We go slow. If we would try to keep up with you, we wouldn't be able to make it. Yavar na Adoni lifnei avdo. You, Eisav, you go ahead. Vani esnala liiti. I will travel at my own slower pace. L'regel hamlacha asher lefanai. I will travel according to the pace of the work that I have to do. U'leregel hayeladim. And I will travel at the pace of the children that they need us to travel. So we're not going to go together. You go ahead. We'll go at our own pace. Yaakov declines the offer to continue the brotherly relationship. So the simple answer to Yaakov's demurral, his desire not to want to stay together with Eisav, is that Eisav presents to Yaakov two dangers. Physical danger. Yaakov was afraid Eisav would try to kill him. Okay, for the moment that has been averted. But there is also a spiritual danger to Yaakov and his family. If Yaakov and his family would travel together with Eisav, Yaakov would risk being influenced. His family might be influenced by the materialism, the physicality of Eisav in a way that would make it impossible for Yaakov and his family to take their place as the spiritual heirs of Yitzchak, his father, and Avraham, his grandfather. And so Yaakov says, our destinies are not the same. You go your way. We go our way. We have something separate to do. You have something separate to do. At least there is no animosity now between us, but we'll still each go our own way. I think that's the simple understanding of this passage. But the language that Yaakov uses is curious. Let's listen one more time to the words. Ani esnahala la'iti. I will travel at my own pace. L'regel hamlacha asher lefanai. According to the pace, the speed of the work that I have to do. U'leregel hayeladim. And according to the speed that the children can handle. We have a different speed. It's kind of an interesting answer. I mean, this is the whole issue, that you're going 50 miles an hour and I'm going 40 miles an hour. Maybe you'll slow down a little bit. Maybe I'll speed up a little bit. I mean, maybe you'll go ahead and wait for me. How is the speed, the pace, the main issue here? So I want to share with you a remarkable answer that is given by Sivan Rahav Meir. She says that whoever has the privilege to bring children into the world gives up, in quotation mark, gives up from their free time. Because you have to spend time taking care of your children. You can't spend all your time doing something else. Children require a lot of time. Whoever keeps Shabbos loses 1/7 of the time they can earn and spend money. If you're going to keep Shabbos, you're not going to be able to work as many hours as someone who does not keep Shabbos because you're not working on Shabbos. And you're not going to be able to spend as many hours as someone who does not keep Shabbos. Whoever learns Torah wastes time, again in quotation marks, wastes time that could be spent learning a practical profession. What good is it studying Torah, learning ancient rules and texts? What's it going to get you? How are you going to make money from it? How are you going to get ahead in life by wasting your time studying Torah? That's one approach. But opposite this utilitarian perspective, there is this pasuk in our parsha that expresses a completely different philosophy of life. When Eisav asked Yaakov to join him, to walk together with him, Yaakov refuses. And he says, Ani esnala li'iti. I'm going to go at my own pace. The pace of my work and the pace of my children. And it's as if Yaakov is saying to Eisav, it's okay, you go ahead. You want to pursue materialism, you want to pursue physicality, it's okay. That's fine. I'm also moving forward, but my tempo is different. I'm going forward also, but at a slower pace. Why? Because of the work that I must do. The commentators explain. To keep Shabbos, to keep Yom Tov, to observe the mitzvahs, to learn Torah. I'm not going to go as fast as you, but I'm going to make my way according to my own philosophy of life. And because of the obligations of my children. To have an orderly household, to have shalom bayis. And let me just be clear, shalom bayis means that parents have to be home with their children and spending not only, in quotation marks, quality time, but actually spending time with their children, not devoting themselves completely to their careers. Yes, I know I'm speaking to myself. Yaakov says, I have values that are not driven by money or convenience or achievement. Yaakov explains, I invest time in matters that appear to delay my personal advance, but in the end, they're actually more important than anything else. And for thousands of years, Yaakov has been looking at Eisav and how Eisav moves ahead so fast, and Eisav's achievements are sparkling and promising ideologies that appear, and they They move forward at breakneck speed. But Yaakov, Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, is not impressed by any of them. Yaakov, we the Jewish people, we move at a different pace. We watch as Eisav's ideologies have fallen by the wayside. And meanwhile, Yaakov and the Jewish people keep advancing, slowly, slower, but surely. Yaakov does not waste time. He just utilizes it differently. And we see this not only in the examples that I gave you, which are obvious, but we see this in every area of life. Let me share with you just 3 brief examples that are not so obvious. Tali Versano Eisman is a reserve officer in the IDF today. She was interviewed on the radio, and she said the following. It's a story, and clearly it is meant as a metaphor for what's happening in Israel today. And the story goes like this. 2 mothers were waiting for their daughters to finish ballet class. The first mother asked the second, "Isn't your daughter the one who's always falling down?" The second mother answered, "No, my daughter is the one who is always getting back up." Of course, that is the need that we are developing now, the need to practice how to fall and to get back up. It doesn't make us quicker, but it makes us more resilient, better able to achieve the goals that we as a people and a nation need to achieve. Now, this lesson applies in moral settings and in social settings. This is a story from Sarah Tuttle-Singer, when years ago she had just moved to Israel from California. She spoke very little Hebrew. Her children were in school. They were starting to learn Hebrew. Of course, it was an adjustment making aliyah. And she had a little girl at that time. And her young daughter said to her, "Mama, it's okay if you have a hard time with Hebrew. You really only need to say one thing." "What's that, baby? What do I need to say?" "All you need to say is, Ma shlomcha. How are you?" That's all you have to say to people. So her mother asked, "Why is that the most important?" And her daughter said, "Because people like to talk about themselves." Letting someone else talk about themselves, especially now with what people are going through, is so important. Often it is the only thing that we can do to help someone. Of course, letting someone else talk about themselves means it's slower to get your words out. But it's so much more important. And one last example in reverse, where we need to go faster than others. And this is a great story. I shared it once before with some of you. So a number of years ago, there was once a Jewish boy. He came to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, in Brooklyn, New York, to receive a bracha, a blessing before his bar mitzvah. He was about to be bar mitzvah, and he wanted to get a bracha, a blessing from the Rebbe. And so the Rebbe is speaking to this little boy, and the boy says to him that he came to New York City in order to meet the Rebbe to get a bracha, and also to go to the game, the baseball game of the New York Yankees. He's a fan of the New York Yankees. So he came to see the Rebbe, but he also came to see the Yankees. And he was going to see his favorite team play in person for the first time. And so he asked the Rebbe, it's a little inappropriate. Okay, he's a little boy, an American boy. He says to the Rebbe, "Could you also give a bracha to the New York Yankees that they should win the game?" So the Rebbe smiled at him, and he said the following. He said, in sports, you can be a fan, an admirer, a spectator. You want your team to win. You're sitting in the stands, or you're watching on TV, and you want your team to win. But the Rebbe said to him, in life, don't be a spectator. Be a player. A spectator can leave in the middle of the game, or he could just suddenly decide to be a fan of a different team. And a spectator, no matter how much they care about a game, on the morning of the game, they could just sleep late and miss the whole thing. But if you're a player, you assume responsibility. You're completely invested in the game until the final second. You can't leave. You're the one that has to make it happen. You're the one that has to make sure that you win. The Rebbe said to him, you're now becoming a mature, responsible Jewish young man. On the day of your bar mitzvah, you're becoming a player on a team called Am Yisrael, the Jewish people. And you can influence the outcome of this game by taking an important part of it. In this game, where you are a member of the team of Am Yisrael, don't be a spectator. Don't be a fan. Be a player on the team. Because it's up to you to make sure that we win. My friends, I wish you a great day. And I look forward to seeing you all soon in person.